Happy Waynesday. How are you? So today I want to talk to my audience that is within the age group of 15 to 25, okay? And if you're older than that and you get some value from this, great. But if you see this might help someone that's between the age of 15 and 25, then please share it with them. So I want to go over kind of everything here. So let's start with life and when it starts and what it evolves into for you and for just about everyone. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I think it's really important for the younger generation and the younger individuals to kind of make some decisions early in life. If you've ever spoken to anyone older, they'll tell you, oh, I wish I knew this when I was younger, or I wish I knew something when I was younger, or I did something when I was younger. Well, let's look at a couple of things. So let's say from birth to 4 years old, this, to me, are your golden years. Do you know why? Because during this time, you're the most happiest. You're running around, you're playing, you have not a care in the world, you're figuring things out, you're having so much fun. And I'm gonna put some pictures here of my kids and their smiles when they were young, and maybe some of the things that they did when they were young, just to show how unchained and free and their smiles, if you look at it. You'll see, you can look at your own pictures and look at them as you're young, the smiles and what makes you happy and how easy it is to entertain and to make you happy during these years. Now, from 5 to 18, this is all schooling. Okay, what are you doing? Well, you're learning things. You are figuring things out, but around age, I'd say 11 to 13, you start thinking, well, more seriously, what am I going to do in my life? What is different about me? What is special about me? You start separating into your groups, your cliques. And that kind of forms your personality and how you will be in the future, which, you really haven't figured yourself out, but you're kind of following along with people. Some of you have figured yourself out, but it's hard for you to be yourself because so many others are kind of trending and following things that they see others do. Every generation had their own view of things, their own way of doing things, and somehow generations never see eye to eye. We always think that we had a certain way and it was good and it was good enough for us, and maybe the younger generation or the previous generation should do things similar to what we did. Who knows? It's just different, okay? But during these years, you start to figure that stuff out. Now, why am I talking about 15 to 25? Because right now, 2020, there are kids that are 15, 16 that are making YouTube videos and making money. They're TikTok making money. They're doing streaming playing video games online. They are using Discord. I mean, any social media platform. And they're doing things that they never, I don't think any generation prior to had the opportunity to do with such a great scale. Now, when I say scale, I mean 100 years ago, a 15-year-old probably would get married and have kids and probably have a farm and that type of lifestyle. Now we're talking about kids 16, 17, 19 having $1 million. Now, I want to go over this because $1 million is kind of just tossed around like it's nothing. But think about your mom, your dad, your parents, your grandparents. They probably worked hard most of their lives and never made $1 million in 1 year or 2 years or 3 years or 10 years. Nowadays, and it's pretty valuable. Nowadays, kids can actually make that from videos, from endorsements, from playing video games. Now, why am I talking about this? Because at this age, 11, 13, you don't know much about money. No one's taught you about how to handle that type of money, how to save it, its value, how to utilize it to make more money. But there are a few out there that have shared this information, have learned how to do this, and I encourage you to seek that out, find that information. Hopefully I can provide some of that to you, but let me get back on track here. This age group, you have an opportunity to do more in this time period, this 10-year time period, than any other time in the past. You have an opportunity. You live at home. Everything is basically taken care of you, food, shelter, all that stuff. You have an opportunity to grow, to build something, to experiment, to see more than any other generation prior to you, okay? It would be a shame for you to reach 30, 40 years old and not have done anything with that time. So I'm hoping that if you take away anything, that you take away the opportunity that I'm making you aware to do something, to utilize this time period and not to waste it. So let me go back to this and then I'm gonna circle around with the dollar figures. So now we're looking at 19 to 24. Maybe this is your college years, all right? Maybe it goes to 26, and this is college. The problem here is this cost a lot of money, and most of you will end up taking out a loan, and we're gonna get back to that. But just understand this period here is different than this period because you didn't spend a dime here. You may have made money here. Here, you're now responsible for money, okay? That's important because you have to understand what role money will play in your life. And so far, you haven't been told or taught about money. So this is a dangerous stage in your life. It can create great opportunity and also create a great pitfall for you if you don't know how to navigate that. Now, from the age of, let's say, 25 to 65, that is 40 years, you're probably going to be working, and this is where the constraints come in. When you're working, it's usually a schedule. So you're probably working 5 days a week, 40 hours a week, if not more. And this varies. You can look at your parents and see Are they working? Have they been working? And how long? Now, this is 40 years of their life. So far, your golden years was 4. That's the fun part. Your schooling has been 13 years. And if you did extended schooling, you're looking at another 7. So maybe 20 years of schooling, 40 years of work. And during work, there are spots that you have a vacation, you have fun, you have a family. But all of a sudden, you went from great time here, some fun times here, and now we've just gone into this, I don't want to say circle, but a routine. And then at 65, 66 to, let's say 100, these are back to the golden years. The difference between these years and these years is, well, you're dependent on people here to get you through life. Here, you're probably going to be dependent on people to help you get to the end of your life. That's a tough one. You know, you may have health issues. You may want to have seen and done more things. And this is when you start realizing this time period, you could have done things differently. So I'm talking to you about this age, 15 to 25, because you can not wait till here and wish you did something here, and just do it now. All right, let's go back to the money real quick. I need to show you the circle of life there to go through some stuff. Now, if your parents are working, let's say, or college, let's talk about college. So college is gonna be expensive and you'll have to spend some money on that. Now, you'll probably have to get a job, or let's explain about money and how much it is. Let's say 50,000 is the dollar amount that we're talking to 150. So if your parents are making anywhere in this bracket here, they probably work a job regularly. They're not making this out of, I don't want to get into contracting and self-employment and entrepreneurial, because it's a different scenario. Let's just consider this what we call W-2 work, all right? They have to pay taxes. So all of this money really isn't the money they take home to utilize and do stuff. So anywhere from 20 to 30% of that goes away before they can spend it in this scenario, this model, W-2. So I want to examine this to show you, and let's think about a story. Let's say your parents gave you $5, right, for lunch, okay? And Iris can be a boy or a girl. Takes 2 of those dollars before you even get to school. This is the lunch money. So by the time you get to school, on your way to school, your $5 turned into 3. And this is what you use and you spend, and you have lunch. You can only have $3 worth of lunch. And most likely, you spent all of it on your lunch. Okay, it's all gone. Then, let's say this goes on throughout the year. At the end of the year, Iris comes back. And Iris says, hey, let's look at what you made, which was this, and what you spent. And we'll see if everything balances out, because you might have to give me some money, and there's a case scenario where I might have to give you some money. No problem. This is code for taxes. So I'm just telling you. So now, let's say you get a refund. Okay, the problem is, you might call Iris a thief. You might call Iris a charity. You might call Iris a bully. You might call Iris unfair, okay? Because why do you have to pay? And okay, irrelevant. Has to be done, regardless, good or bad. That has to be taken care of. So, however you want to deal with that is for you to figure out later on. But let's look at this and see. We've got Iris giving you a refund. So now the end of the year has gone by, and all those $2 that was taken out before you even got to spend it, Iris says, hey, I'll give you back $1. Here's the problem with that scenario. Why was something taken away from you and then given back? I mean, doesn't seem fair, right? If someone beat you up and took your money and then came later on and said, hey, here's your money, how would you feel? All right, may not be the best example, but I really wouldn't be happy with that scenario. Then again, let's look at the other scenario. Let's say you actually owe more. Geez, I spent everything. Now I have to owe you more than what you took? That's even worse. That's like getting robbed twice, in my opinion. Either way. So now, Iris is the IRS. That's the government. That's taxes. That's your local, city, state. Anyone that takes away from what you are given and earned. All right? So let's go back to mom and dad. Mom and dad now make $50,000. Let's say 20% of that. So that's $10,000. So really, they have $40,000 to spend on their lifestyle. Home, food, car, all of that stuff. May not be a lot. Let's look at, and we're gonna use the same 20%, the $150,000. Now you're thinking, okay, $150,000, that's 3 times as much, so that shouldn't be bad. But if you made $150,000, you worked really hard, and someone just took away $30,000 of it, now you're left with $120,000. That's pretty tough. I mean, that's a lot of money there. So, is it enough to get by and live on? Sure it is. But let's talk about that example that I was bringing up earlier. Kids 19 years old are making $1 million off of a YouTube channel in a year. Your parents worked hard, 40 hours, 50 hours a week, and only made this much. You have a huge advantage over your parents that maybe you're not aware of, that you should be taking advantage of. And I hope that this helps to explain that. Now, if by some chance you put in the work in these years of 15 to 25, and you start working, start generating money, and it's for something that you are happy doing, like playing video games or dancing, whatever dance, and all that stuff, then out of doing something that's fun, entertaining, and bringing you an income, don't you think you should understand how best to make that income work for you so that you don't spend 40 years doing something that you don't like, that's making even less, and probably not going to help your life and help others benefit? I mean, you gotta let that sink in for a bit and understand and think, wow, I could bypass so many different rough stages of life just by understanding something earlier, sooner. You have an opportunity to not look back and say, oh, I wish I knew that when I was younger, or I did that when I was younger, because you're being given the opportunity. Anyway, I think that's going to be enough for now. Next week, I'm going to be talking about how I've gone through a cycle of evolution, and it's really important next week. So I'm hoping that you'll join me, share it with someone. And if you have questions, I'm always there to answer. Not 24/7, right away, instantaneous. That's not what I mean by that. I mean, if you post a comment or get in touch with me and you ask a question, I will answer, because it's important to me to help the next generation, the future generation, because you will be able to make changes if you understand the rules of the game that you've entered into and will be playing, whether you choose to or not. You're part of it. So this is another Waynesday, and I hope I was able to provide you with something good. Again, this is off the cuff, and some of this wasn't tied in nicely, but I think it should have helped raise some questions. So for now, happy Waynesday, and I'll see you next week.